We are live. Should I play some music? Dun, 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 savage lands, savage lands.
All right, are we live to viewing several?
We are, I think.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to have you in today to this week's stream of Savage Lands. The topic of today is we're going to be talking about crafting and recipes and all of that wonderful stuff. I am, of course, your neighborhood friendly Oxhorn here, as always, with my suspender set to maximum stun. And we have in the chat today Chris, who is in charge of game design over at Signal Studios. How are you doing today, Chris?
I'm doing really well. Thanks, thanks for having me on today, guys. I'm looking forward to chatting and showing off some of the cool stuff that we have in the game and the basics to crafting in the Savage Lands.
Well, it looks like we have a lot of people here today. It's so good to see all of you. You've been sending in your questions over the week as we've been getting ready for this stream, and I want to go through a few of them before we dive right in and Chris goes bonkers with showing us all the amazing things that he's got in store for us. So first on the list of some of our saved questions is this first one from Vandras, and he asks, will we ever be able to explore or reach the mountains that are visible in the distance across the water?
In time. We are, as the Savage Lands evolves, we'll be looking at adding new content, and that new content will range from the deepest and darkest of dungeons to potentially crafting boats and sailing the seas. So we have a lot of big ideas, but these are things that we're going to look at over the course of the development of the game.
Excellent. Well, crafting ships, I hadn't heard that one. That sounds amazing.
Oh, did I say that? Oh, all right. Yes. Something we want. Yes.
That's awesome. Well, I think that's a great idea. I'd love to be able to craft some ships sometime in the future. Next, we've got Boomsticks, and he asks a couple of other great questions. These are questions that many people have been asking over time. And he asks, will there be instances that we can go into, like maybe caves and various other portals / entrances into well-developed dungeon areas that you wouldn't want to venture into alone? Are these the sort of places where we could find items and materials, and so on and so forth? So is there instancing in Savage Lands?
There's no form of instancing if you were to think of like World of Warcraft and going into an instance zone. There's nothing like that in the game. And in my perfect world, I would actually prefer everything to be seamless. So if you come across a cave, you go into that cave. You can explore that cave and wherever it leads you into the world. So there's nothing like instancing, but that doesn't mean 8 months from now we decide that, hey, there's from a technology standpoint, instancing makes sense. But right now, for early access launch, there's nothing like instancing in the game. Everything is real time, open world. You'll be able to mingle with other players that you find throughout the island.
Very cool. That reminds me of many of the old school MMOs that I played back in the day. I played Dark Age of Camelot all the time back in the day, and it didn't have instancing. Everything was just in the open world, and I actually really enjoyed that. But there's a place for instancing, that's for sure.
Agreed.
All right. Well, I'll dive right into these questions a bit later. But Chris, you've got an agenda. You've got things that you want to show off, and we'd love to hear what you got to show us.
Absolutely. Well, I do have an announcement to make, Oxhorn.
What's that?
This is pretty cool. I was just talking with Tom over on the DNA side, and by the way, DNA handles a lot of our back-end coding, so those guys are cranking away, making this world run and do all the amazing things. So Tom, we just pushed our new alpha build. So lots of major fixes. Kitty Chicks is going to post up the patch notes, and we're also going to be releasing more keys. So 500 more keys are going out.
Excellent. So we're going to get an injection of new blood into this game. That's awesome. What are some of the highlights of the patch notes if you just want to skim over it real quick?
Sure, hold on. I went through and tuned a lot of the consumables in the health values and tweaks. The DNA team managed to lock down a bunch of crashes and just issues in general. So just a lot of overall stability improvements, which is great. We're working the start areas. So when players start the game, you start off kind of in these random areas, much like other survival games. But we've kind of revamped how that process works. So a lot of the items that are in these areas are now dynamic. They're no longer static items that you pick up, and we've also added a new save game feature to the game. You can actually create your own characters now. You can save out your games. You can save your game states, and you can save your characters. So if you want to take your character over to somebody else's game, you can. Or if you want somebody to join your game that you were playing earlier, that you were playing in single player, you can now do it in multiplayer. So the code team has just been cranking away and doing some amazing things with the product. And then I've gone through. I've retuned all of the loot tables, all the drops in the world. So I've added new equipment into the loot table. So you'll now find worn armor. I actually pulled all the leather armor out of the drops, so you'll find worn armor, and that's in preparation for the durability system that'll come online very shortly.
That's awesome. So now you can take everything that you've earned in the game with you when you log off. Is it only what's on your character, or are things that you drop in the world, can those go with you too? Like, do they appear in the same spot in the world if you take your character to another instance of the game, or is it only the things that you've got on you?
Only the things that you have on you as a player will travel to somebody else's game. But if somebody was to join, say, one of your worlds, all the stuff that you've built and you dropped on the ground and everything will all be there.
Makes sense. So everything in the world stays in the world. Everything on you stays on you. Perfect.
Yep. It's really black or white. It's really simple. Cool. So, well, why don't we dive into some crafting?
Sounds good to me. What have you got to show us today?
All right. Well, we are doing this through Unity, guys. So I had to turn some of the quality settings down to eke up the performance just a little bit. But so if anybody's out there like, oh my gosh, this game doesn't look, we're running through the tool. This world is huge. There's tons of stuff on screen. So I actually pulled some props out of this village, so just to make sure I got maximum performance. So here we are. We're actually in Village 1. The name of that village is called Argo. And I got a bunch of stuff laid out in front of me, and I'm going to show everybody some of the basic crafting techniques. I'm going to show everybody how cooking works. I'm going to show everybody how to build a basic hammer, because we do have mining in the game, and hammers are really important to mine, along with pickaxes that will come online very shortly. We also have wood sticks. You can now combine wood logs to make sticks. That was feedback we got from the forum. I actually implemented that right away. Along with a bunch of other things that you'll find here. I also kind of cranked everything up, so the stacks that you're seeing are not the stacks that you'll find in-game. Just made it easier to demo what's going on. So I'm going to run the scene. Mind you, there could be some issues because I did some tweaks that Unity might not like. So it could crash, and if it does, I apologize, but we'll get right back into the game. All right.
Just so everyone understands, Unity is the engine that's used to build the game, and in the sort of back end like this, you don't see a lot of the shadows and the lighting and all of the stuff that makes the game look really beautiful in the actual live finished game. This is sort of like lifting up the hood, as it were. Yeah,
it's going to be a little raw, guys. So it's but it's and you can see kind of it loading in. It's all doing weird things, but that's not how the game really works. So here we are. We got a bunch of pelts, leather hides, all sorts of cool stuff out in front of us. But I'm going to walk over here. I got a campfire going. I put out some raw meat. We got some raw bear meat, and we got some deer meat. So after you've killed various fauna in the game, such as deer, bear, goats, which are not in yet, but they will be. And a bunch of other little critters, you'll more than likely get various slabs of meat, which you can see here in the lower tray. Let me get rid of some of these bandages here.
So we have a question from Boomsticks real quick, and he asks, will you be able to make traps either in your base or out in the wild for hunting to get bears and wolves and so forth?
Yes. Once we get into early access, the idea is to be able to make traps for, I'd like to make traps for animals. I also want to make player traps as well. Man traps.
Man traps?
Yeah. So I have
snag other players.
So you can snag other players. So I got big goals. All right.
Ambitions here.
Yeah, all right. So let me bring up the fire. So when you walk up to a campfire, it'll tell you, hey, hit K to forge. Really straightforward. Okay, great. I'm going to do that. As you can see here in my inventory, I got everything I need. I have deer meat. And when you want to cook something, it's as simple as just being near a fire source. You have to have the items, and you just hit the craft button. Doing that will quickly cook the meat up. A nice little sizzle sound effect. Audio guys hooking us up. And there you go.
It's much more appetizing.
Yes, and then you can go ahead and eat it. You'll get back things such as your hunger value will kick back up, health, and as well as cold. So that is basically cooking, basic cooking in a nutshell. Now, as we go forward, I'm going to add more advanced recipes into the game, like being able to melt down amber, and I'm also going to add salt into the game very shortly, so you can make cured meat, which will offer you some really cool stuff as well. So, you know, as we move forward, you're going to see lots of good stuff being added to the game. All right, let me pick up some of these bandages. I'm going to throw these apples on the ground.
So right now, are there status effects in the game if you were to eat raw or rotten meat? Like, what's the major benefit to cooking meat in the game at the moment? Is it just taste, or do you actually get more health and so on and so forth?
So various types of food have various, they have different types of function. They offer different types of effects. So in the game, from a status effect standpoint, you can bleed to death. You can be poisoned, you can be diseased, and you can also go starving. These are very important status effects that you need to maintain. When you're bleeding out, you want to make sure you have bandages. When you're poisoned, you want to make sure that you have various things like elixirs. I just added night bloom flowers to the game, which can be found in more deeper parts of the map. And you can combine those to make a night bloom essence, which can be used to cure poison. You can also find wild berries, and wild berries will also cure poison as well. Things like disease, there are various foods that we have in there as well that can kind of mitigate the disease factor and get rid of that. We also have some elixirs that you can craft. I'm not going to go into detail because I'd like for the people or players to find those. And then for starvation, for hunger, it's pretty straightforward. You just got to eat.
Food.
Food is very important for the player. One of the things I didn't mention, or as we kind of dive into this whole crafting element, is people have asked questions like, wow, how do you have this recipe list and there's nothing on it? Well, we wanted to add this layer of discovery to the game, and that is you discover the components, and as you discover the components, those will unlock various recipes that you can use those components in the whole to craft. So as you find uncommon and rare type components, they will unlock all sorts of cool recipes.
Nice.
And I think it's exciting. I know a lot of people would be, I just want my crafting list, but it's a different type of game. And we really want people to get out there and go out and explore and find stuff. And we think that's kind of one of the exciting aspects of the game.
It's kind of like the fog of war in other games, right? You know that there's a big world out there, but you don't see it up on the map. And you don't need to, right? You go out there and you discover it slowly over time. And suddenly, not suddenly, but over time, the world gets bigger and bigger. Similarly, your recipe list is going to get bigger and bigger as you find more and more items.
Absolutely.
So we want to do a giveaway real quick, taking a pause to give away some alpha keys. So the way this works is what I'm going to do is I'm going to say a hashtag, and the first person to type this hashtag in the chat is the one who wins the alpha key. Now we have an automated robot who's looking at all of you guys right now and who's going to watch you to see who says it first. So I don't have to take a look at it. It's not going to be up to human error. This is a robot doing it, and robots are perfect. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, for the alpha key. The first one to type hashtag I want a Savage Lands alpha code gets it. Hashtag I want a Savage Lands alpha code. All right, so we're going to let the machine do its thing, and then I'll announce winners in just a second.
Yay. Organize my inventory here.
So are those all nuts on the ground over there?
Where? These are actually various ore various types of ore. So I have low quality ore, medium quality ore, and high quality ore, and these can be mined from the various rocks found throughout the world.
Now, is it just a random chance that any of those will pop out, or are there specific types of stone that you have to mine to get specific types of ore?
Right now, the rocks are set up that there's a random chance that anything can kind of pop out. But I'm actually going to go through and tune that next week. So certain types, larger rocks, may give you a better chance at giving you higher quality ore, where some of the smaller rocks may only give you low quality ore and stone. I have to go through a balance pass on that.
Gotcha.
I have some skulls here, some human heads, because we're going to craft some good stuff with heads. Yeah. All right, so let's rock and roll.
What's next?
We're going to craft a boar's tusk bag. I know people have asked, are there other bags in the game? Yes, there's actually 6 different bags that range from 4 slaughters up to 15 slaughters. The 15 slaughter being the strong leather backpack. So right now we're going to craft the boar's tusk, and I believe this is a 6 slaughter. Hold on, let me look at my spreadsheet.
Okay.
No. Yep. And so, cool. Let's go to the crafting inventory. You can see here I'm on general goods, which was normally this bag icon. And right now, really, I can only do a torch, basic bandages, and a dimly lit torch. Dimly lit torches basically are reused torches. They give you less light. They don't last as long, but they're a great little backup just in case you get in trouble. So let's pick up these boar's tusks. Doot. Doot. I'm going to need some leather hides. Pick up one of those. And I got claw shreds on me already. All right. As you can see here, I picked up some cool stuff, and my list expanded, which is great. So this is what I want to build right here. I need leather hide. I have 3 of 2, so I got more than enough. I got 2 boar's tusks, but I need strong sinew. Son of a gun. So one of the things that you're going to want to do is you can get sinew is extracted from leather hides. So you want to pick up a leather hide, go into your crafting menu, and you can go to this strong sinew right here. And for 1 hide, you'll get one batch of strong sinew. I need 2.
I thought sinew just dropped off of deer. I didn't realize you could actually craft sinew.
Oh, I changed that. Oxhorn.
I like this.
I was inspired by the whole let's turn logs into sticks. And I thought so I'm like, yeah, that makes total sense. So let's turn, you can mold leather hides into, and extract what you need to make sinew.
Awesome.
All right. I think it's fun. I think players will like it, and it gives you multiple ways to, to craft various items in the game. So that's what I like about it. Our crafting system is just dynamite. The code team set it up. It's phenomenal. I give them high props. It's actually one of the best recipe systems I've ever worked with in a game. It gives me so much flexibility, and I can create recipes so quickly. If I had, because we're a small team, if I had more manpower, I could just have one guy cranking out recipes, WoW style, for a month, and we would be set for like 5 years. All right, so let's go back to the boar's tusk. Boar's tusk pouch. So I have everything I need. I got the strong sinew, got the tusks, got the leather hide. We're going to craft. Boom! There you go. It's right here. It appears. Everything goes into your inventory. It goes into a free slot. It'll also go into your bag slots if you have bags. When you get a bag, for example, this boar's tusk pouch, it'll when you put it in your inventory slots right here, it'll actually expand down here in this lower area. And as you can see here, you can close up your bag. So if you don't want to see them all, or if you just want to see something particular, let's just say this bag's my my components bag. I'm crafting right now. That's all I want to see. That's what I used to do in WoW. Then yeah, there's a lot of flexibility to here to kind of do what you want and play how you want.
All right. Cool. Well, that's new. I don't remember seeing that before.
Always making changes, Oxhorn.
All right, so we've got a winner of the last alpha contest, and it's Romulan Goddess. Romulan Goddess, congratulations, you got an alpha key.
Whoop.
And then we have a question. This one comes from the chat, and it has to do with what you were saying earlier about patch notes. And he asks, will we lose our character we have now when we have to create a new one within the new patch?
It is very possible.
It's possible, ladies and gentlemen.
For those in the alpha test, and I'll be honest, there may be a time where we have to wipe saves just to ensure that all the new data is, propagated to the game system. So we apologize. It is part of alpha testing, and it hurts. I know I'm one of those MMO beta testers that would always hate for the wipe, and we won't do it unless we absolutely have to do it. So I'll leave it at that. But there may come a time that we need to wipe saves, and I think this is one of them. And that is only because, guys, we put in this brand new saving architecture in the game that gives you more flexibility to play the game how you want.
And this is very common when it comes to alphas. I remember when I was in the Hearthstone alpha that I lost all the cards that I won after a series of like 3 months, and that just happens. So that's what we get. All right, one more comment before we move on. A question from Boomsticks, and he asks, are there going to be other projectile weapons other than bows and arrows in the game? Maybe if will it ever progress to the point where we've got town sieges and there could be siege mechanics and trebuchets and catapults and all of that good stuff?
I would love to say absolutely, but I know the code team would probably hurt me. I would love to see the game evolve to that level, especially without having to go into a different mode of play. It's just all part of the world where players can create, they can hunker down on the island. They can, fortify themselves and, keep raiding parties out. That is my ideal world that I would like and that we would like to build as a team and get to that point. But it's going to be an evolutionary process, from early access onwards. So the more people we get in there, the more feedback we can get, the more, it'll help us continue to fuel and keep the flames going, so we can continually better the game for our fans.
Nice. And one more Alpha Key giveaway before we move on. This is a trivia question. First one to answer it right gets the Alpha code. And the question is, how many dragon roosts are there currently to be found in the game? First one, it's a number, not a word. Use the actual numeral.
All right. I got this one. I got it.
I know you know this one. All right, so what's next on the agenda, Chris? What do you got to show us?
All right, so we showed how to build. We showed how to cook. We've showed how to build kind of a really cool bag. I want to show everybody how to build stone hammers, because I know stone hammers, you start off with a crude hatchet. And you can chop down trees, which is great, but you also need stone and you need minerals and ore and stuff to continue to expand your overall progression of your players. So let's go ahead and build a basic stone hammer. All right, under weapons, I got all these awesome weapons, but I don't have the stone hammer.
Are you going to be showing us off how to build some of those weapons later on?
Yeah, actually, I got a couple weapons lined up that I want to show you guys. But the first thing, because I'm kind of going through a tiered progression for this for the demo here, I wanted to make sure that I got some of these lighter things out of the way.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to pick up some wood here. All right, let's see, go into my crafting menu. I'm going to make some wood sticks, because I'm going to need a few of those. Let's see, stone hammer. Oh, I got some stone. Oh, I'm going to need some sinew, right?
So just a side point, Chris. People in the chat are laughing at your pronunciation of sinew.
You know what? I'm old, guys. I'm stuck in my ways.
That's all right. It takes all things, right? There's no
for the fans, sinew. You say potato, I say potato.
Potato, sinew. Hey,
that's right. It works.
That's great.
All right, guys. So I now have sinew and rocks, some stone, and I have stone sticks. So I have enough components here to build my basic stone hammer. And the stone hammer is one of the basic, it doesn't require a lot. You just got to go out and find this stuff. So if you kill a deer, you'll get a leather hide. You can then turn that leather hide into 3 strands of sinew, and then you can collect some rock stones, which can be found along the beaches in various areas. And of course, you can find wood by chopping down trees and convert them into wood sticks, and then simply hit the craft button. Boom. We have a hammer.
Oh, look at that.
Whoop. All right.
Now, do the hammers, do the pickaxes that come later in the game, do they just mine faster than the hammers?
Yes, and they'll also have more durability.
Ah, great.
All right. So, next up on the list, hold on, guys. I got to go to my handy Excel sheet because I have a whole progression for everybody. Since I'm on weapons, I'm just going to move to the next weapon. And this is going to be a serrated steel sword. I don't know if anybody's found this yet, but it is a pretty cool weapon. It's funny, I've designed all the recipes, but I can't remember them to save my life.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Digital Craze was the winner of the last Alpha Key. Congratulations, Digital Craze.
Alright, so for our serrated steel sword, we're going to need 1 leather hide. I'm going to probably get rid of some of these rocks, maybe. Yeah. I'm going to need some medium quality ore right here. Aren't I lucky? Alright, I'm going to need some high quality ore. I'm going to need 10 of those. Luckily, I have these in stacks of 5. It's like I planned ahead. And let's see. I'm going to need some strong sinew. Oh, man. Alright.
Yes, don't meditate on it. It's okay.
Alright.
Just the wonderful, colorful thing that makes us all different.
It
looks like my face has disappeared from the stream a little bit. Looks like there's a Skype ad up now.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if it's my camera or... It might be my camera. Hold on. Never mind. Focus on your thing. I'll fix it from my end.
Okay. Yeah. Alright. Well, everybody enjoy the ad. Alright, so let's see. We got our sinew. Alright. Let me see. What else do we need? Right. And we need 18 wood logs for fuel. Of course, I put a ton of fuel. Luckily, I put these bad boys in stacks of 5. We got to get rid of some of these. Oh man, my bags are full. Alright. Alright, I believe we should be good to go. And now what we need is a forge. Forge is absolutely critical to forging some of the heavier weapons in the game. Let's make sure first. Serrated steel sword, where are you?
There we go. Video is working. Sorry about that.
Awesome.
While you're looking for those components...
I got to craft my sinew. Sorry.
I've got a question from Cyrex. He asks, when crafting weapons and armor, will there be any kind of additional materials we could add to change the color of the equipment or to customize it? Perhaps add a flaming aura or some sort of glowy effect.
Great question. Something that if we do decide to do, it will be sometime during early access, post-launch. But I love being able to change the color and kind of alter things a little bit. So basically, what you're asking for is adding dyes to the game. It's not necessarily difficult, but I could let the cat out of the bag. We are working on some new armor. We're also working on a new character model, which is really super awesome. And we want to make sure that we have all that working first, and then we can go back in and kind of investigate how we might do that. But we'll look at our roadmap and see where it fits, and it could be sooner, it could be later, but it'll happen in time.
Excellent. So this is the serrated steel sword.
Yeah, let's bring it up. All right, I'm going to craft. There we go. We're going to focus in on it. Let me get out. This is the bad boy right here. It has some spikes on it. Oops, of course, let me put rocks in my hand. It's a heavier blade. Right now I have it set up as a one-handed weapon, but it'll actually be a two-hander. Very powerful, potent, cuts through stuff. You don't want to, if you're another player, once, over time, for PvP style combat, we'll potentially look into adding detrimental effects to weapons. So, this serrated steel sword could cause another player to bleed out. You might be able to add poison to some of your weapons. So I know people would love to have poison tip arrows. Who wouldn't, right? So a lot of cool things that we're looking at doing and adding over time to the game. So we got our cool sword. Everything's good.
So what happens if you use an awesome sword like that to chop down a tree? Does it degrade faster? or does the tree chop down faster? Because even though it's not the tool that's supposed to be used for that.
Right now, I have it set up so it doesn't. It's just not going to cut trees. It doesn't do anything. One of the things we could do is add. If you do decide to use this awesome blade to cut down a tree, it could dramatically impact the durability of the weapon.
I see.
But right now, we just have it set. Whoa, I'm dying. I'm starving. Hold on. Get in my inventory.
We have a question from Sean, and he's asking about navigation. He says, are we ever going to have the option to craft a compass in the game?
Not at all, actually. We're thinking of making it more difficult by darkening the screen. I'm just kidding. Actually, compass is on our list of things to do. And we're going to hopefully have it in by the time we launch the game.
Excellent.
All right, hold on. I got to eat, or this demo is going to end poorly.
Unless you'll die. That's okay. We got lots of questions. Sean also asks, so what about passwords for locked chests or even doors on housing?
Yeah, Tom and I over at DNA, we've talked about potentially having keys for houses, so you can give a key to a friendly player, and they can enter your house. We've also talked about, passcodes for chests is relatively new. If you have a locked door, do you really need a passcode to your chest? But at the same time, if you're on a hostile server, being able to break down doors or being able to potentially destroy houses in time and loot those houses is definitely a part of that particular experience. So even if it's passworded, potentially players could break into it.
Here's a great question from Dino World 11. And he asks, can armor break and will it need to be repaired? Also, will there be different kinds of qualities like broken leather armor or robust strong leather armor, and so on and so forth?
I'm currently working on different types of gear. I've already added worn leather to the world, and a lot of this what I'm doing here is I'm kind of trickling in these items to see basically, if they make sense. But ideally, from a tiered progression in terms of our armor, I would like to add, like worn armor, leather armor, pristine leather armor, absolutely. And it very well may come to that, where there are slight tweaks to the overall mesh of the armor, so it looks slightly different. But yes, I would like to do that. We're already starting to experiment with it, and it's something that could be more prevalent over time. All right, so I built, I showed off two weapons. I showed off the serrated steel sword. I've showed you guys how to build a basic hammer, which is very important. Showed you guys how to build a bag, and we've shown everybody how to cook food, which is great. So one of the next things I want to move on to, time permitting, is I want to move up to our armor system. I want to craft some bits and pieces of armor. So I don't know if anybody's found it yet, but I want to craft. I'm going to craft an executioner's barboot, and a tunic. This is a really cool piece of gear. To do this, I'm going to need some high quality ore. Let me just make sure I got everything. All right, we're good on the ore. We're going to start with the barboot first. I got cloth shreds. I know they're around here somewhere. I need 1 human skull and 5 things of strong sinew. All right, I think I'm all out of leather hides. Go figure. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop Unity. I'm going to pray to the Unity gods that everything runs fine when I restart this. Looks like Oxhorn may have gone offline. And then we're going to restart. Hoping that all my badness that I did works great. And it looks like, so far so good. All right, we're back. All right. So we're going to pick up some more. Pick up some leather hides. Let's combine these guys. Alright. Leather hide. All right. We'll bring him back in just a second, everybody. All right. Sorry, a little shaky. Alright, I think we have everything we need. Without Oxhorn, it's so quiet now. We're close to everything that we're going to need. Executioners. Tunic. Our boots. Alright, we got to get our skull. We're good on claw shreds. We're good on wood log. We're almost good on wood logs and strong. Alright. Skulls. Oh. I'm going to close down Oxhorn's window here. Sorry, everybody. Alright, now let's go and craft. Let me look at my spreadsheet. What do we got? Oh, 3, good. Alright, let's craft up. Alright, looks like poor Oxhorn bounced off the channel. Alright, we got him. Alright, you back, buddy? Here we go. He's on. Uh-oh, no audio. Can't hear you, Brandon.
How about that?
Much better.
Okay, sorry about all that. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Not sure exactly what was going on, but lost video, lost audio, then lost only video, then lost only audio, and hey, I'm back, and things are as they should be. Did I miss anything? Did anything exciting happen while I was gone?
Bad. No.
All right. So let's see. I've got another question here while you're working on the next recipe. This one's from Boomsticks, and he asks, "Will mobs be the only place where higher level materials drop? Will we ever be able to find them from crafting nodes throughout the game?"
Potentially, yeah. I mean, you can get, right now, a lot of the components drop in the world from creatures. They can be found in villages. You can acquire them through mining. You can acquire them through chopping down trees. I'm talking to our art director right now about potentially peppering in various types of plants that you can harvest as well. Foliage, berry plants, and some type of cotton plants that are unique to the savage lands. Requires a little bit of the slight change to some of our tree tech, but more stuff to potentially go in before, if not a little bit after, we launch the game.
I see. All right, so then we've got another question here, and he's asking about how the different items vary from each other. So, for example, different pieces of armor. Is there a point to crafting one of the really expensive pieces of armor at this point in the game, as opposed to one of the lower level pieces of armor?
Once our durability system goes online, there will be, yes, it'll be very important to have the higher tier, from the chain to some of the rough plate to the pristine plate. But right now, it's any type of armor, if you have a full suit, will provide protection. But the durability system is something that's going to come online probably next week. So hang in there, and it'll actually dramatically change up how the game's going to play.
Gotcha. So the biggest difference between armor pieces is going to be durability and not necessarily quote-unquote armor points or protection points, right?
Correct. Well, the higher tier the armor is, the more protection or the more the protection works. So how the armor works in the game, it's not like a traditional MMO AC system, armor mitigation system, where you have 20 billion AC and it only, it protects you from X% damage. In our game, armor acts like a shell. It's kind of straightforward. If you have armor on, the creatures will hit that armor first before that damage is applied to you, the player. Now, there are rare cases where creatures may pierce through the armor and cause you to bleed, or it's kind of like a critical strike, if you will. But for the most part, having armor will be critical and protect you from serious damage. But each time that armor takes damage, it's going to be worn down, so you'll eventually have to fix it.
I see. And it looks like we have some winners from the other contests that Kitty Chicks was running in the chat there. The winners were PWOG66 and Bad Tempers. Congratulations to the lot of you. Here's a question from Vessor, and he asks, what about the top tier items in the game? Will you be able to craft the best armor and the best weapons, or do you have to find them, or vice versa?
You'll have to craft them. And those components actually come from various creatures in the world, from Dragonscales to being able to find radiant gems. There's also, we went a little old school with some of the creatures in the world. There are named creatures that walk the world as well. And it's kind of like old EQ1 style characters, and they're rare spawns. But if you see them, they'll have unique weapons in their hand. You kill that creature, you will get that weapon.
Oh, and would that weapon be exclusive to that creature?
Yep.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool.
And the weapon itself will, and we're going to make sure that they look a little bit different. So let's say you have an oak smasher, which is kind of this huge, big oak club. You may, let's say one of our creatures, is it Draenor? He walks, it's a skeleton, he's slightly armored. He has a rotted oak smasher, so we're going to slightly vary up the texture to make it look different. But again, that's something you could say, hey, that's exclusive to me. I killed this guy. I went through the whole running around, trying not to die, and I got this cool weapon from that epic battle.
So you were talking earlier about the idea of taking large things and reducing them into small things. Take a log, you can make sticks out of it. Take some deer hide, you can make some sinew out of it. Here's a question from Matt Went Nuts, and he asks, will you be able to make bone dust out of animal bones? Grind up animal bones into bone dust?
I think with bone dust, I'm actually going to break it off into two components. You'll be able to create human bone dust, and then you'll be able to create animal bone dust.
Oh, okay.
And this will give us more flexibilities in the different types of recipes that we want to make. I have a lot of other things. Last night I was actually up till 3 in the morning, my mind just wouldn't stop working. So I was thinking of different recipes that I could add, ways to kind of reuse armor and kind of wear down armor, if you will, so that you can use it for other things. So I got some other ideas on how players can get more use out of the stuff they have. It's just going to take some time to implement it and potentially work with code, but I know code has a ton of things to do. So these are things that'll get in with time. But we do have a ton of recipes to craft, ton of armor, ton of weapons, food, and other miscellaneous stuff that I may draw inspiration from that I'll add in on a whim. There's a lot of stuff, and I don't think players will be disappointed with what they find at launch.
So speaking about recipes, you already explained to us how the way it works in Savage Lands is you don't see the recipes in your recipe menu until you find some of the ingredients. And once you have an ingredient, the recipe appears showing you, oh, I can make X, Y, and Z out of it. 2 questions. One, if you lose the ingredient from your bag, does the recipe disappear or does it stay in your bag? And the second is, if your character dies, do you have to relearn all those recipes all over again?
No. Once you've discovered a recipe, it sticks with you.
Very cool.
I mean, that wouldn't be fun, would it?
No. No, that wouldn't be great.
I as a gamer myself, an MMO player, I would, if I discovered something through a tome or through the trials and tribulations of actually going out and getting those components, and then I didn't have those components in my bag, and the recipe disappeared, I would be a little irritated. So no, once you've discovered the recipe, that recipe will stick with you.
An off-topic question from Boomsticks. He's really curious about pets or mounts. Will you be able to like tame a creature to be your pet and follow you around, or will you be able to like mount a giant moose and ride him into battle or something?
I'm just thinking of just like the just right out of Lord of the Rings there. Just walk to your friend's little village on your moose would be super awesome.
That'd be great.
Or walk in with a pack of wolves like, hey, what's up, guys? This is a hostile server? Yeah, here, everybody, attack wolves. We want to add creature taming to the game. It's actually was on the initial design list. But we want to do it right so that you'll have to find the components. You'll have to craft the proper item needed to tame that particular creature. So you may need wolf fur. You may need essence of saliva from the wolf. Things that you combine to make an item that will ultimately allow you to tame that particular wolf. For me, and I've mentioned this in other streams, I want to be able to tame bunnies when we get them in.
That's right.
So that I have just this mobile food source with me.
Instead of a horde of wolves when you walk into town, you've got this flock of bunnies.
It's just a flock of bunnies, and everybody will look at you like, what? It's like, no, I have a bunny. So it's definitely something we want to get in. And being able to tame all the various creatures in the world is something we want, but it'll be added over time.
Sounds good. Back to weapons and crafting. Here's a question from Vandras, and he's asking, is there such a concept as encumbrance in the game? If you start carrying all of this ore, and then you've got really heavy armor, and then you got really heavy weapons, is it going to slow you down as you walk?
Yeah, it was actually something I was tossing and turning about last night. Right now, there's not a concept of weight, but I'm leaning potentially that we may add weight to the game. You wear the heavier plate armor; it's going to slow you down. But I want to talk with Code. I want to talk with other people, and before we actually head down that path. But it is it's not. I don't think it would be too difficult for us to put it in.
And definitely, you guys watching this stream right now, we'd love your opinion as well. If you have any ideas on encumbrance or what you think about that, how you've experienced it in other games, let us know, and we'd love your feedback.
Absolutely.
So, is there anything new and exciting and amazing that you want to show me? That sword was fantastic, by the way.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, wasn't it? I'm going to show off. I'm restarting the Unity, so everybody pray to the Unity gods.
Okay.
All right. It's been pretty stable. This is good. And it's just when you do bad things that are not designed for the engine, which is what I've done, anything can happen. So like the game crashing. So I'm forcing something to happen that wouldn't naturally happen, and bad things can happen. All right. So I'm going to craft one more weapon because I know we're running out of time.
Okay.
I'm going to craft one of my favorite weapons, and this is called the Reckless Edge. All right, let's get some high quality ore.
Here's an interesting idea from Sangenius in the chat. He's saying, here's an idea, wearing heavier armor plate, maybe it could encumber you at the beginning, but if you keep wearing it over time, maybe you increase in strength, and maybe you get a little faster over time.
That's a good idea. That's a great idea. I think of all the code right now that we're trying to get done. Like, yeah, I don't know if Tom would, because I actually did an ask this morning for some other features that we're working through, some really cool stuff that we're going to add to creatures and change up their behaviors and how they attack a little bit, so they seem much more fluid and organic. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do. And for those people out there, the game is alpha. That means we're in a testing phase. There's bugs. You're going to see bugs when I'm doing streams. I apologize, but the cool thing is we as developers are very transparent. We want to bring our community in, help us test the game, help us find these bugs, and help make a great experience.
And that's the struggle as a game developer. It's always, there's never a shortage of ideas, right? There's a never-ending well of wonderful ideas that you come up with, and that your friends come up with, and the fans come up with. It's always a challenge of prioritizing them and finding the time and money to actually make them a reality. So
yeah,
that's
it's tough. It's super tough. All right, hold on. I'm getting all the components for the Reckless Edge. High quality animal bone, got it. Leather hides, check. Let me just double check.
Savage Steel Cleaver. Is this the Reckless Edge, or is it just called Savage Steel Cleaver for now?
I'm looking up. Reckless Edge. Unless
I just saw in your recipe menu that you had Savage Steel Cleaver selected. That's all.
Oh no. Oh yeah, Reckless Edge right here.
Oh, perfect.
All right, sorry guys. Again, keeping track of all the recipes is not a skill set I have. All the recipe components, and I apologize. I'm going to use the vicinity window actually to drag more stuff in. It's much easier.
There you go. I like the concept of the vicinity window. I haven't seen a lot of games that have used that effectively.
No, it was a great concept that I had seen in other games. DayZ uses it, and as a RPG gamer, I always wanted the ability to be able to hit my inventory window and then drag all the stuff to where I want it from the vicinity. It always seemed like a pain in the butt to have to hit each item, and I thought it was a cool idea, and we were inspired by it, and so we kind of added it to the game because it was such a great idea. It made sense for our game. Normally, I don't like I wouldn't add something that doesn't make sense, but this made a lot of sense.
So Boomsticks is referring to another stream that you did a while ago where you were talking about Dragonscales, and he got excited about the idea of Dragonscales, and he wants to know if you'll be able to make a Dragonscale sword or a dragon tooth sword sometime with Dragonscales.
Yeah, I'm actually going to come up with a full set of dragon gear.
Nice.
And keep in mind, the Dragonscales themselves are really rare, so if you're walking around with dragon scale gauntlets, Dragon Slayer style, nobody's, people are going to be like, wow, that guy's, yeah, he did his, he's pretty awesome. We're also, I'm also going to look at adding cool things into the component list, like, hey, when you have Dragonscale on, it gives you back heat, because it's a dragon. So you don't go cold in the world. And as we add things like fishing and other elements into the world, that require you to go out into the water, things like, Dragonscale armor and some other things that we'll add will be very important to keep you from freezing to death out in the frigid water.
Boomsticks was asking about unique items, and sorry my video popped out again, but he was talking about how in the past you talked about how there were unique items in the world, and he wants to know exactly how unique are they. So if you craft a unique item or you find it in the world, does that mean that only one instance of that item can appear in that world or in the entire game across servers, or can many people have it, just it's really hard to get?
It's just really hard to get. Gotcha. I mean, having unique items, but there'll be items in the world that are really, really rare, and that's based on the components that you acquire from the various creatures in the world.
Excellent, thanks.
All right, I think we're almost there. All right, hides, animal bone. I don't know if I have enough space. This is madness. This is why bags are incredibly important. Inventory space, managing inventory space is huge. So I can sit here for the next 20 minutes trying to figure it out.
All right, looks like the winners of the last alpha giveaway were Siono and Wolf Brother 116. Congratulations to both of you.
Congrats, guys. Keep in mind, I'm trying to craft the Reckless Edge is actually a higher tier weapon. So my thought process is, by the time you actually get to that point, you'll have more than a tattered bag in your inventory. So it'll be more. And it's very important that you have this bag space so you can carry this stuff, so you can craft. Because you're going to need it when you find a forge and start doing all your recipes. Now, when you have a forge inside your house and you have you have your chests inside your house with all your components, it's not going to be that big of a deal.
Here's a question from the chat. Does vicinity work through walls? Or does it only work when you're standing outside of a building in the actual world?
That's a great question. Truthfully, I haven't tested it. If an alpha tester right now is on and wants to test it, Kitty Chicks will give him a t-shirt if it works.
Hey, look at that. Free t-shirt.
So just post it up in the forum. If it does indeed, we'll run a test, we'll verify it, and the first person to find it, to verify on our forums that finds that, hey, you can indeed use the vicinity window through walls, will get a free t-shirt. Alright. I'm not going to do it. I should have put more bags in the world. Silly me.
Just not inventory space, eh?
Yeah, that's me. So I'm going to show some people some stuff. When you're walking around in the world, you'll find things like these cages. You might every now and then find human bone or animal bone inside those cages. So keep an eye out. Campfires are a good place to find components. You can sometimes find stone and flint. Every now and then you might run across a weapon rack like this, and you might find a weapon on the ground. It's very possible. Doors, we all know what doors do. Go inside the house, you might find something, but I didn't find anything in that house.
Do world items respawn over time, or if you are the first person on that server to enter the world, and you go to town and you gather up everything on the racks, is that it for that particular world? No one else can find those things?
No, things, just like DayZ, things do respawn over time.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to give out exactly what the respawn timers are, but and they vary per village.
I see.
So, yeah, as you can see here, I'm awfully stingy.
That's every good game developer should.
Yeah, so, there you go. I also want to mention, too, guys, we've been hard at work. You'll see those dragon towers. I've actually added some more watchtowers in and around those dragon towers. Also be careful of the skeletons that roam in those areas that you can see off in the distance. Those things are incredibly brutal. Some of the creature population up a little bit, but still lots of tuning that needs to be done. Yeah, so even though I didn't finish the Reckless Edge like I wanted to, hopefully the basics on how to get started when crafting, you guys get it. You can watch this video. Very important. Building a stone hammer and kind of progressing your way up through there. Hopefully it makes sense. I'll be on the forums, the Steam forums, so please, excuse me, please jump on the forums, especially in the alpha forums. I'm more than happy to answer questions. I'm really active with the community. I like chatting with people. I like getting feedback, so please, stop by anytime. You can ping me too in private. If I'm not busy working, I'll spend a moment and chat with you.
Well, that sounds great to me. Is that the end of our presentation today?
I think so. It's 2:03. I got to get back to work and start fixing stuff.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming to this broadcast of the alpha release of Savage Lands. Sorry for my camera issues during the show. I'm going to be sure to fix that in time for the next one, but at least we can end and you can hear my melodious voice, which is, of course, important. Thank you for participating in the chat. Kitty Chicks is going to follow up with those who won shirts and so on and so forth and won alpha keys. And we will be sure to be giving away many more alpha keys during the next stream, so be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook just so that you know when we're going to do the next stream. And I want to thank Chris for sharing his time with us today to fire up Unity and show us all of the wonderful things that we can craft in Savage Lands and for answering all of our questions.
Yep. Thank you very much, everyone. We appreciate all the support. The feedback has been really positive. Again, we're a developer. Signal Studios and Digital DNA, we're committed to making a great game. Expect lots of updates, even after early access. I know a lot of people are always like, well, are they going to update the game? We're old school developers. We want nothing more, nothing less than a AAA experience by the time we officially launch this game. So yes, we will make a great game for everybody out there. And thanks again for coming to our stream. And with that,
thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.